Hi, Cindy. How are you?
I am good, thank you.
Awesome. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually doing a quick refresher course on our Sylvan Sync writing program because South Lake has been doing a fantastic job on disseminating the program the way it's supposed to be done. That is using the iPad and using our resources provided to us. So instead of making all the teachers go through Sylvan University through tons of modules, we thought we'd create a quick 7 to 10 minute video. Not sure how long that's going to take here, but we'll try our best to be quick. Um, but yeah, so that you're just getting the important basics because a lot of you know how the writing process and everything works, but we just want to ensure that everyone has the Sylvan way down and that we're following the right steps and we have the right writing portfolios generated for each student at the end of the program. With this, I will let Cindy introduce herself. She's our Director of Education here at South Lake, actually Center Director now at South Lake, and I will get her to share first, talk a little bit, and then share her screen.
Hello there. I am very excited to be able to share with you more about Sylvan Sync writing because I think it is so important, especially for this generation that is used to just pointing their finger on the device that they have. With Sylvan Sync writing, they have the opportunity to compose their thoughts and to put them down actually on paper. And so we're going to be looking today, as I share with you my screen, at a PowerPoint on Sylvan Sync writing, but I'm also going to be showing you where to find these things. It took me some searching, so I don't want you to have as much trouble. First of all, you need to know that you're going to be looking at the writing portfolio, and you need to make sure that you choose the appropriate grade level. So you're looking at a program that is for second and third, fourth and fifth, sixth through eighth, and ninth through 12th. You can explain
Cindy,
to the parents.
we're not seeing your screen. You could just share your screen. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay,
Now it's
sorry
fine.
about that.
That's okay.
You are looking at, you can help the parents see that this is appropriate for their student because it will prepare them for these different stages of their academic life. And it includes a writing prompt list, the writing process, the essays, the resources, and the constructed response. Now, to find all of these resources, you need to go to Sylvan U. And so I'm going to show you Sylvan University, log in. And if you don't have a login, you need to check with Danny on how to do that because this is so important. Many of your documents you need and reports are on sylvanu.com. So then you're going to search, and the easiest way to do it is just put in writing portfolio and then just hit the search button. And what you need comes up just like that. So let's say that we're getting our writing portfolio documents ready for someone who's in middle school. So you would just click on that, and then everything you need is right here to get started. You have your writing journal prompts, and with your writing journal prompts, you have a front and back page. And what you do with that is you have them write, and there is a place on the iPad to push a button at the very first 3 to 5 minutes. And what we do is we have them highlight to the prompt, and then we have them date what they write about it, and they need to write at least 3 to 5 sentences. If they're older, they probably can do more than that. Okay, then you're going to go back to the same page, and you're going to look at the writing process worksheets and print those out. I recommend that you do these back and front, the writing journal prompts and the writing process worksheets. Now, I want to show you how this works as we look at these pages here. When you open the iPad for their very first composition strand lesson, it will have guided practice 1, understanding the writing process. They do not do pretest for the writing process. They do pretest for vocab and for mechanics. Notice that there are actually places for them to write their answers. So there's the first lesson. Then they go on to another guided practice on analyzing audience and purpose. All of these pages are very well laid out for you. Now, one of the things to notice is that whenever you get to the guided practice or an independent practice, you usually have two parts. On the first part, notice that this page, the answer blank, starts with number 3. And the reason for that is number 1 and number 2 were something that you probably just want to discuss with them and show them examples and models. Then on number 3, you can still discuss
Can
it
I
with
ask a
them.
question?
Sure.
So number one and number two were basically something that came up on the iPad and they were discussing with the student. Is that what you mean?
Yes, usually there's an essay to read because it's very important for them to read and model based off of these essays. So they've read a paragraph and it may have been a real simple question like, what's the topic sentence? Highlight it. And then the
Okay.
second question might have been, what's the conclusion sentence? Highlight it. And then number 3 is to write 2 examples of informal language from the paragraph. You want them to actually write these out. Don't skip this step. This is part of the strength of this program. So number
So this
4, it
is where they
says,
actually write their stuff and we keep this in their binder.
and you
Correct?
keep it in the binder. And when I have that first 2 weeks meeting with the parent, I show them this, and they are very impressed with this every single time that their kids are actually writing answers on paper. And it's okay that it's a little messy sometimes because this is like a rough draft kind of thing. But you want to move towards you can read it well and that you can make copies of their essays for their parents that look really nice. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So it says soon you will be asked to write a paragraph in which you describe your favorite place. What is your purpose for writing this paragraph? Who is your audience? So they need to write, you can discuss it with them, but they need to write their answers. Another important part of this is that if there are the grayed out portions on the guided practice and there are examples there, let them read them. It's good for them to have another example of how this could have been written, especially when they get to things where they are adding sentences to someone else's essay to make it better. You know, the fact that they can look and see how somebody else made it better is really important. All right, so now let's go back here and see what else we have available. So then it says resources. Resources are transition phrases and word choice and information on how to write research papers. The transition words and the word choice list are extremely important to use as resources as the students are writing every essay. Then you have all of the documents for the different essays. You have descriptive, which is the one they write while they are doing the writing process module. And then after they complete that, they go on to informative, narrative, argumentative, constructed response, and research. For all of the grade levels, you need to do the constructed response. That is something that ties into the STAR test because they have to do an essay question, is what we used to call them, where they summarize or where they do some comparison contrast after reading passages. And so the passages are printed out for you. It's a very good resource to have, and it's a great thing for them to learn how to do well. Then you have research paper. I wouldn't start the research paper with second and third grade. I would only do that with fourth, fifth, and above. And it will be a little bit of a struggle for fourth and fifth, but the older kids should be able to do it. All right, so now I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to show you what the binder looks like in person. So here we have the binder, and you can put their name and Sylvan Sync writing on the spine, and then put the learning, the token and the learning log here in the pocket for ease of access. But the most important thing is that you are going to put the tabs, use the dividers, and then whenever you get to the essays, just to save money, you can use just the sticky notes for that. I'm going to show you a picture of the tabs in just a minute, But I want to show you in particular when you print out the writing process documents, what it looks like whenever you get it. You get, let me put this up on my shoulder so I can hold it up better. You get the graphic organizers, and they're kind of geared toward the kind of paragraph they're writing or essay they're writing. And by the way, you should expect 3 paragraph essays from fourth and fifth graders. Sixth and above should be 5 paragraph essays. Would the younger ones be happy if you get a paragraph and a good paragraph with a good sentence at the beginning and at the end? But fourth and fifth graders, they're doing this in school, so they should be learning it with us as well. Now, the first one, the descriptive, is just 1 paragraph, but everything else should be 3 to 5 paragraph essays. Here's a sequence chart because you're doing a narrative here. This has a graphic organizer for a story map. You have a regular outline. And then one of the strengths of this program is that they spend time revising. And so there's a revision checklist, there's an editing checklist, and another really important feature is that they have a different rubric for every essay, but it's based on 6 criteria. And those 6 criteria follow them all the way through the writing process and all of their essays. So those are all very important. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again and just show you that in a little bit more detail. So we talked about all of this. Just note that there's also a college essay module for the students in those grades, 11th and 12th. And then here is just a reminder of what materials to gather: a binder, dividers, the portfolio docs, and then how to put that into organizational format. Here is what you're putting in the left binder: the token log and the learning log. I put Post-it notes over the kids' names. Here are the tabs: journal, essays, and then behind the essays, you take each one of those essay sections and you can just use the sticky notes with those. And then here are the rest of them: constructed response, the writing process, and the resources. Now, a couple other important things. Do I have time, Rashmi, to say a few more words about how to teach the program? Okay, so on the instructions, the iPad, one more review of that. You write the answers to the questions on the pages in the book, in your binder, that correspond to the numbers on the iPad. If the numbers are not there, you can discuss or have the students write the answers on the iPad and then check all that work together, especially on the guided practices. There are no pre-tests on the writing strand. So what that means is the only scores they're going to get are on the independent practices. And on mechanics, it's the full-on pre-test, guided practice, independent practice. But they won't get a whole lot of high fives because you're going to spend 35 to 40 minutes on the composition strand. And then you're going to do the mechanics as you have time. Deliver the lesson. You need to explain it to them, discuss it with them, and go over the answers. You can't do this the easy way. You have to be involved with this process. One of my tips is let them read the answers on the iPad for essay questions and examples as you check their own answers. You can relate back and forth and connect it and say, oh, remember, we just talked about the fact that your answer doesn't have enough detailed sentences. So here's an example of how you could do that. And that will give you an opportunity for more modeling and discussion about what to aim for in their own writing. And I would require your teachers, sometimes my teachers don't get involved in the editing process, but I do. I circle misspelled words, I make them include words they left out, etc. So make sure the teachers help with that final revision and editing process. Not that they do it all themselves, but they guide the students through it and then look over it, because you want a pretty copy or error-free final copy in their best handwriting to share with the parents at the OC. And I make a copy of it and give it to the parents too. They love that. And always coach them on their best efforts. Don't be satisfied with poor quality. Instill pride in their efforts and they will begin to see the value of writing for themselves. All right, that's all I have, Miss Rashmi. Is there anything else that you want me to say?
Yes, I do have a question. Um, Thanks for that, Cindy. That was really informative. One quick question I had between like you were showing that there was graphic organizers and stuff with the different genres of essays. Where does the scoring rubric come where they're going through different sample paragraphs? Because that's what we sell as directors. We're selling the program. We're talking about how our students are reviewing different sorts of essays and they're scoring them for the scoring rubric. Does that come in the genre of essays as well?
Yes, every essay has its own rubric.
Okay,
And
so
they even have, I didn't show you this, but they do have a reflection sheet
mhm,
where they think about it's their basically their overall metacognition of how did they think about how when they were writing this, one thing they'd like to do better. And the teacher should go over that with them too. Sometimes we forget to do that, but it's
okay.
a good ending lesson for them to do that. But yes, they have the rubric, and the rubric is also on the iPads. And
Mhm.
so they also have that written copy. So they're going to self score. That's one of the ending lessons on every essay, and then the teacher scores. And listen, there's a little trick on that. It's like nothing else in the Sylvan program. So if you get caught up and you're like, wait a minute, how do I do this? Then give me a call because it's hard to explain and I don't have anything in front of me to show you how to do it. Sometimes that very last thing that you have to do, you can't figure out how to do it. So give me a call or I'll be
Okay.
happy to help you.
All right. Let's all put Cindy on speed dial. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Cindy. That was really informative. At least it'll get us started on the right foot. And if you go to see, if we follow the prompts and all the handouts and everything that are provided to us, it actually takes the student through a very structured program. And when it comes times for OCs, where we're talking to parents, showing them how they've developed, their writing skill, there's a lot to show. There's a lot to show in terms of where they started, how they're progressing, and where they're ending. So let's just follow the process. All right. Thank you guys. And thank you, Cindy.
Bye bye.
Bye.